I'm Liz Shanks from Liz's book Snuggery. Before I start this year's collection of suggested picture books that are alternately wondrous, warm, witty, and wise to give as gifts this Christmas to young readers you may know, you may have a question, and I certainly do. Your question may be, why is Liz wearing this ornate headpiece? And my question is, how does a celebrated picture book author combine a more than 10-year fascination with ornamental chickens and the retelling of her version of the Grimm's Brothers fairy tale, Cinderella, and morph both of these things into an utterly delightful and sumptuous picture book called Cinders? Think Russian wintry landscape and add its fashion and architecture to the mix. Easy. The answer? Your name is Jan Brett. Jan has come up with a meticulously researched picture book that is unique and unbelievably beautiful, with her famous attention to minute detail intact, and Jan fully in possession of her creative, artistic, and storytelling powers. Jan's research for Cinders took she and her husband to Russia, for 18th century Russia is the setting for this tale of a pullet in search of her prince. Jan's exploration of the Russian culture, including its architecture and fashion, are infused with glorious detail in Cinders. This is a book that kids will want to read and pore over again and again, and parents can marvel at the authenticity of detail that has become a Brett hallmark. You can see balalaikas playing at balls. They're a sort of Russian stringed instrument with a twangy, distinctive sound, and ladies of the court wearing the ornate, ancient, and beribboned Russian headpiece called a kokoshnik. Jan makes Cinder's kokoshnik feathered, fabulous, and a glitter. In fact, on the back flap of the book is a great picture of Jan in a red and white kokoshnik that is dazzling. You see, I love hats. I also love the fact that Jan has set her story within a story. It opens on the scene of young Tasha, a young girl fighting a driving Russian blizzard to feed her chicken charges in their warm and cozy coop. They are by name Largessa, the old biddy of a chicken, and her two daughters, Pecky and Bossy, and of course, Cinders. The trio sure is a grouping of petulant pullets as they continually push Cinders away from any chance of having a share of the food. With snow piled high against the door, Tasha falls into a dreamy sleep with the pullets a part of her Cinderella-like dream that she imagines with the chickens and roosters playing all the roles. It starts with a certain invitation that arrives at the coop from a Prince Cockerel invite that is deemed a fete, a frolic, and a fantasy at the Ice Palace. It turns out to be all three. A beautiful silky hen is a perfect feathery white fairy godmother who changes a rolled-out pumpkin into a golden peach-flowered sleigh pulled by a troika, that's three in Russian, of gorgeous geese. The pigeons are changed into footmen, and the mice drive the sleigh in proper military livery. You and your young reader will be transported to Dr. Zhivago land immediately, if not sooner. How did Jan imagine all this? As I mentioned, what better place is there for someone to absorb Russian culture than St. Petersburg? There, Jan and her husband were off to Novgorod, an ancient capital full of museums that exhibited 18th century Russian dresses called a sarafan, or Russian folk costume, that Jan drew from as inspiration and adapted for her pullet peasant turned princess. One of my favorite pages in the book is a snow-covered gate that unfolds fully and opens on a dazzling scene of hens and cockerels twirling at the ball. Glorious. Will the two Cinders meet their princes in the dream and on the farm? This is once upon a time land, remember, so not to worry. And now, I'm off to the ball at the Ice Palace in my kokoshnik. My troika of geese awaits, and Prince Cockerel too. But I invite your young readers to visit this tale as old as time, set in a wintry Russian wonderland. Compliments of Jan Brett. It's a wintry Christmas winner. I'm Liz Shanks, and I want to thank you for joining us on this holiday segment of Liz's book Snuggery, inspired by Grimm's fairy tales and also Russian-inspired. And our book was called Cinders by Jan Brett. It's a great read.